Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Alpha Omega occasionally. On this occasion, I keep clearing my throat, sorry about that. On this occasion, it's a pretty important video because it is the one thing that will get you on moving to Thailand. And it gets me every single day. And no matter how much I remind myself of saying to myself, I'm not going to be caught out in that again, it just keeps happening. And this video is not about saving face per se, but it's the consequence of that ridiculous, and I stress, ridiculous behavior. Every country, every culture has this kind of saving face mentality where your reputation has to be upheld. But in Thailand, it's every single detail, minute detail of your reputation that has to be upheld at all costs. And I repeat that, at all costs. And how does that manifest itself? Now again, this is not about saving face, because there have been a million videos on YouTube about that. I'm not the only one to bring up this subject, but I'm probably one of the only ones to bring up this subject in terms of how it affects me on a daily basis, and I mean on a daily basis. I'm talking about my own personal experience, as I always do, and I'll give it to you. Let's say my spouse, my other half, she will tell me, I'll say what time you'll be home, and she picks a time out of the air and she'll just spit it out, but there's absolutely no substance whatsoever. It doesn't mean diddly, or to use a double negative, it doesn't mean diddly squat. They will tell you what they think you want to hear, provided it maintains their reputation. And that's a fact. In every aspect of, and you could call it lying, because it is lying. It is lying, but it's what could be termed as a white lie. They're doing it for what they perceive to be the greater good. They don't want you to think that they're bad or that they're paying you a disservice or whatever it may be by telling you the truth, which would make you look upon them in a bad light. And it works in every single aspect. When things happen, I'll say when things happen, when the electricity goes off here, you're given a ballpark time of when it will come back on. But it's never the truth. It never seems to be the truth. Because, like we say in Ireland, and I'm not saying Thailand is necessarily the only country or only culture that has this kind of, let's say, mentality, or this very loosely termed tradition. But we say in Ireland, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. Well, you see, we're talking about telling a story. But here, it's about issuing instruction. It's about fact. What time will you be here? That doesn't mean a damn. How many of you have organised to meet a Thai girl, let's say on a date, and you've agreed a time, say 9 o'clock p.m, and they show up at 9:45, and there's no apology, there's no explanation, it's just the way it is? Am I wrong? Do you have a different experience to me? Or if you have the same, I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes here. If you have the same experience to me, does it really interfere with your mental well-being as much as it does me? Because it drives me absolutely crazy. It drives me crazy. The complete disregard. I mean, it is. It's a complete disregard for just disregard for realism. I mean, you're living in a situation where you never know when something's going to happen, because the time you're given is just taken out of midair. Now, when it comes to officialdom, when it comes to the metro, the MRT, for example, that's right on the money. There's a TV kind of monitor display at every single gate or doorway on the metro, which is state of the art here in Bangkok. It's a wonderful service, absolutely top notch. It's better than the one we haven't got in Dublin, the only city in the European Union without a rail link to the airport. There you go. But having said that, the metro here in Bangkok, the MRT, the timing is 100%. It says train will be arriving in 1 minute. Bang! It arrives in 1 minute. So when it comes to officialdom, this isn't the case. Because if you're an organisation and you're providing a service or supplying a product and you give a timeline for that, if you don't deliver in accordance with that timeline and meet your customers' expectations, you're not going to be in business. Simple as that. But when it comes to individuals and personal relationships here, the time doesn't mean a damn. And maybe that's one of the attractions, in a way, of living here, because you're socially working on it seems like in a different reality, because time doesn't seem to mean the same here as it means in the West. I'm not saying every country, as I said earlier, it might happen in some other countries where people tell white lies to save their face. But as I say here, it's absolutely ridiculous. We were going to a wedding, myself and the wife, up near Lopbury, up that direction, a good few years ago. And we were driving around the circles, rural roads, and eventually tried to get a woman to ask for directions. Because the only reason I asked her to ask, because she's Thai. So didn't she press down the window, and she spoke to this Thai. And I heard him saying, "Don Bailio, Silio, Qua, blah, 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 blah." And we followed the directions, and we were nowhere near where we were supposed to be going. He just told her what he thought she wanted to hear. That's a fact. That's an absolute fact. And I think I mentioned this before, where my brother-in-law and I were drinking outside his mother's house on the back street here a good while ago, a long time ago. And I was in the humour for buying a few more beers, so he had a beer in front of him, a bottle of beer. And I said, "I'm just going up to 7-Eleven to buy beer. What time are you going home?" And he looked at me and said, "My Lou," which means I don't know. So I said, "Grand." I took that to mean that he'd still be there when I got back. Of course, when I bought the beer and came back, he was gone. And I went into the house and I said to the wife, who is his sister, I says, "Where's he gone?" Oh, she said he went home. I said, "But he didn't tell me that. He told me he was going to hang on." Well, he didn't say he was going to hang on. He implied he was going to hang on. And she said, "Oh yeah, he didn't want you to think he was bad and letting you down." That wasn't verbatim what she said. That was more or less what she said. So that's proof of the pudding. So if you haven't lived in Thai culture and you're planning to do so, you'd be well advised to listen to what I have to say on this channel, because I'm saying it with a light heart. Because you either accept it or you don't. I accept it. It does drive me crazy, but it happens every day. And when I say I shouldn't allow myself to get caught out with it, but what can you do? When someone tells you something, you take them at face value. So that's the way it is. Never believe what a Thai person tells you when it comes to timekeeping on a personal level. Businesses are different, but on a personal level, that's what I would say to you. And I will, by the way, I'm not like that. I deliver videos in a timely fashion. I manage your expectation because I call the channel Alpha Omega Occasionally, because I deliver videos on occasion. And this is one of those occasions. And it's one of those occasions where you might consider clicking the like button, the share button, subscribe button, do all those wonderful things. And I'll bring you back another wonderful video very soon. Thanks for joining me.